All right. Welcome to North Hudson Public Works / Utilities Committee meeting of September 17, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Item number 1 on our agenda is call to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Keller?
Here.
Trustee Olson?
Here.
Chair Pike?
Here. Item 2, approve our last minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
The August 20, 2024 Public Works meeting. Can you read that for me?
Hold on.
I move to approve the August 20th, 2024 Public Works meeting.
I will second that.
All right. Any discussion? Any changes? Did we use AI again? No, they look good. All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed. Item 3, comments from the floor. Opportunity for the Village of North Hudson residents, property, business owners to make the board aware of topics, issues, opportunities not on tonight's agenda.
Can I speak of the Browns Beach?
Browns Beach?
It's not on the agenda, is it?
Nope. Go ahead. So you need to say who you are and your address for the camera.
Peter Gartman at 613 Galahad Road North. Just wondering, I see some trees marked for removal on the, are those trees actually going to be removed?
That's what the.
Yes.
Yes.
The big, there's a really nice big walnut tree that's on the right-hand side. I was wondering what you're going to do with the logs.
We usually put them down in our yard and have them chipped from it.
If you could cut them into 12-foot sections, I would take those walnut trees in a heartbeat.
We can't because we have to offer it to everybody in the village. So if there's an interest, we can put it on an auction website.
I think you should.
Okay, we've done it before. There's not been much interest, but if that's something that they would like to do, but we cannot give away anything, unfortunately.
Well, okay, I understand that. And then I had one more comment last week about, I asked you guys a question about what is the village's stance or how they maintain private driveways on public way. What is the village's stance? I don't know if you guys remember that. I think.
We can get back to you once we have an exact answer on how we're going to maintain it from this point going forward.
Sure.
I can tell you about the past, but we're not here to talk about the past. We're here to
No.
talk about how we're going to maintain it. And to that, we do not have an answer as a village at this
Okay,
time.
so that's being brought up and that's going to be on the future agendas?
Whether it be on a future agenda or what board it goes to, there is discussion and we're figuring out what we need
Okay.
to do and what we don't need to do. And when we find all those answers
Good.
out.
We'll make it a future agenda item.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I remember you asking that question.
I just think that's something that should be kind of addressed as a resident, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to item number 4, 5th Street North project update. I don't know which one of you to look at.
The part from XL is done. They replaced all the gas mains, all the sidewalks that were disturbed. They had to take out to replace the gas lines. The gas lines have been put back in, and they're working on the restoration of the soil. As far as the paving, that's where I'll kick it over to Kevin.
Yeah, so I reached out to them this week. They're 2 weeks out, but they're still planning on having it done by the final completion date of October 15th.
Okay.
So middle of October should be done.
All right.
So not terribly far out.
So the XL is working on soil restoration, and on 5th Street, they put flyers on the residents' mailboxes or in the homes for the boulevard that I don't know what that brown stuff is, that they put the mesh and the seed in it, and they said water it. But what about the yards for the residents that were destroyed when they did the backhoes and those kind of things? So I think they laid some seed down and disappeared. So I know there's a lot of yards that.
So how that'll work is when their project is done, they'll submit me back for their permit that I gave them. We'll go out and we'll inspect and make sure the restoration's not been done. At that point, if it hasn't been done, we'll give them the opportunity to do it. If they don't, we'll take their escrow portion of it, whatever we have
Okay.
into materials and labor, to get it back to where it was.
Okay.
So once their portion is completely done, then we can go. to go now, it's just gonna be the same answer from them, as
Totally
we're gonna
agree.
get there, or it's on our list, so.
Yep.
Once they submit that, then that's when we have the power to go and basically force their hand to restore it properly if it wasn't done.
Okay, that sounds good, thank you.
How much escrow do they put in?
Excel has a standing escrow with us. I have no idea what's in their account right now, but they keep a large portion in there, so they don't have to deal with their getting us a check every time they get a permit, because they probably get 3 permits a week from the village.
Okay.
Regards to the pavement?
Yes.
So for the final total for the residents that are on Fifth Street, that'll be after the project is completed for how much they're gonna owe?
Correct.
Okay, and then there'll be further discussion on how, if they wanna escrow that, or if they're gonna, how they're gonna do the payments, they'll all get information.
Yeah, so we basically, once everything's been completed, finalized out, then we go ahead and do the final special assessment report,
Okay,
and then that'll show,
And that goes to the board, right?
yep, that'll go to
Okay.
the board
Yeah.
for ratification. Yes,
sounds wonderful. Thank you.
yes, you bet.
Okay, that takes us to item 5, capital improvement plan, update, discussion only. So Park Avenue North has been tossed at us from public safety and from the board. And so my thought on this, and you guys disagree or agree with me, is, you know what I'm talking about, Park Avenue North, right?
That's the one on the corner by the pickleball, is that the one?
No.
Oh, sorry,
This
no.
This is west of Galahad. It's a road that's not been built.
Oh, okay, yep, got you.
My thought on that is, if we're going to do that, or if the board eventually comes back and says they're going to hang on to it, that would be something that we'd put on our capital improvement plan. And as you guys know, based on looking at this, I mean, we've got stuff from all the way out to 2028 right now, and this is a living, breathing document. It changes based on what needs done fastest or first, okay? So from a public works point of view, I was thinking we have Kevin survey and show us very clearly on a nice colored map what Park Avenue is, because most of us don't really know.
Right
And
away.
I know some of it goes right to, it sounds like the Browns Beach Road, which is what, 3rd Avenue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third Ave.
And I don't know if it goes north or south from there, or both. If you could at least bring to us and show us
Sure.
what that would be. And I don't think we can put it on this yet until we know exactly what we're talking about and how big a street it's supposed to be. But then we'd come back to you probably and say, you know, mark it, survey it, mark it. And we'd want to get an estimate for how much it would take to actually do it, and that we would bring to the board and say, is this something you want to do?
Sure.
And if so, what's the priority? I have been, one of these has been on here for 15 years. I've been here 12. And that's what I'm saying. This is kind of a moving document. It's based on how important it is, and I'm not sure what kind of importance the board would place on it. But at least if we have it on here, we know it's something down the road that a future Public Works might want to take on. Any thoughts?
I think it's a good idea.
Is this about
No.
what I'm here for?
No?
Yeah, no, I'd rather see what we're working with.
I
So
would
get
too.
the surveying and all that's taken care of.
Is that a problem for you?
No, I mean, that's something we can do. I think Pete's probably marked out some of the
It's all marked
right
out.
away, but we can
I
definitely,
want our engineer to mark out what it's supposed to be.
okay.
So that's next step, I guess, on that particular capital improvement plan item. Get us a colored map and know what we're talking about.
All right, sure, we can do
And
that.
eventually, an estimate on what it would take to do.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's gonna be curb gutter.
It could be curb and gutter, could be
You'll
just,
provide us options then, whether it's curb gutter, just a gravel road, just an asphalt slab.
Yeah.
You'll give us options.
correct.
Okay.
Yep, we can look at that.
All right. Item B, sidewalks. Another capital improvement plan thing. So we have never budgeted for maintenance I am told, for our sidewalks. And we just, as they've needed repair, our guys would just go and patch them up. And that's what he's doing right now, basically, right?
Yeah, we grind them when they get lips. That's about the extent of what we can do, or we'll cut the concrete and prep it for a company to come in and pour it. We've had a couple different, we kind of call them contractors or sidewalk paving companies, come in and give us the different spiels on what options are. There's polymjacking, where they basically put a expandable foam to raise them up, the panels that have settled. There's the replacement. So we basically can get a bid based off of square footage. So they say that they can polyjack, this amount of square foot for this contracted price. So some of our sidewalks are 4 feet wide, some are 5, so it's hard to say how many panels, but they can do a certain amount of sidewalks, which comes to about, for every $7,000 for the polyjacking, should be about 38 sidewalks repair, plus or minus a few. And then if we budgeted whatever amount, mostly what we found out from these contractors is doing these onesie twosie repairs at $800 to $1,000 a pop, and you're getting one thing fixed when we could get 10 times the amount fixed for a larger set of money, because then they can come here and work, have all their equipment, do the job. So if we can actually budget a set amount, we can get a lot more done, and we can get our sidewalks in good condition. I think right now, if we budget $10,000 a year, we're projected at 6 years on our current to get them all back and restored. Now, there'll be more that get damaged or pop along the way, but initially, our bids are all coming in to get it done in 5 to 10 years at about $10,000 a year.
So, and I'm seeing it as capital, which brings the unassigned funds budget into play. So at budget time this year, we would say, Matt and I would say to the finance committee, look, we want to start setting
Yeah.
10 grand aside in capital to be able to take out, and I guess, if we could, you want to stay generic on that, or should we specify what we're thinking? Like, we're thinking 4th Street West down from Monroe to Wisconsin, or
Well,
we're thinking,
Yeah, it's gonna have to be, they're not gonna skip around town. We're gonna have to attack it because of the.
in a
we gotta move all
methodical
the
way,
equipment.
right?
So, yeah, I guess that would be, we'd have to just evaluate, you probably wanna start in the oldest parts of town and work your way to the newest. That would be the most logical, because that's,
Right.
they get better as they get newer.
Yep.
So we haven't put in thought to, as far as where we would start, just
Okay.
kind of getting numbers ready for budget on what amount of money do we need to be able to get the most bang for our buck. They said that if you budget 5,000, you're only getting a half a day worth of work. So it's not as efficient, because
Right.
you're not, to have them all day is only 7,000.
Yeah.
So
So what do you guys think?
Well, would it include possibly doing additional sidewalks onto it as well? Because I know there's a few areas where like sidewalk just stops.
Some of that's on purpose.
Is that on purpose? Okay.
Well, we would need to know where you're talking about.
But I'm just saying if it's allowed.
Well, like, let's just say 35.
Yep.
That sidewalk runs up to Michelson and
believe so.
stops there.
Yep.
And it never went further. So this discussion came up when we were doing 35. Do we want to complete that? And the homeowners,
Don't want it.
they don't want it.
Okay.
Now, their front is facing, what is that little cul-de-sac back there? From, you know where I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I know what you're talking about.
So their backside is facing 35, and their front side's facing some, is that 8th Street? Some little cul-de-sac?
Oh, yeah.
You know where that dirt
Yeah.
road, yeah, that trail? So I don't know what the name of that street is, but those guys said, well, that's our backyard that's facing 35. Why would we want to go keep those sidewalks clean and that kind of thing? To them, it was like, no, we don't want that.
Okay.
So there are reasons in some places in town where we've never completed that sidewalk. And then I went after, I talked to the chief about how about school kids walking,
Yeah.
because there, sometimes we can get grants, that he got grants to help with sidewalk repair where the kids are walking. And I don't know, by the way, can we get grants for sidewalks at all? That's,
You can, I mean, for new sidewalks.
but
Maintenance,
not maintenance.
not maintenance. I typically
They
don't
give us
see that.
maintenance money for the roads. What's the deal?
Right.
State is picky. So I'm thinking, if nothing else, if you guys are okay, and I don't know that we need to make any kind of a motion, because the next thing, I mean, as far as sidewalks go, we would just have Matt put it on his budget plan to put 10,000 aside for next year to do sidewalks, if that's okay with you. And then we would put it on the CIP for 10,000 a year, or how many thousand you actually estimate it's gonna take to get it done.
I think they're at like 72.
Okay,
But some of them, Fifth Street, we lost a lot of sidewalks on when XL came, so our list got much smaller.
okay.
Because they had to restore the sidewalks on Fifth Street, or
Good.
portions of it.
I have a question about sidewalks.
Okay,
So we as the village are responsible for boulevard trees, right?
yes.
We're boulevard trees, the roots push up those sidewalks, are we responsible for that?
Yeah.
So those will be addressed at one point, maybe underneath sidewalk improvements, is
You
that
know,
correct?
so what we did when we did 35 is when we took out trees on the boulevard on 35, we got Kevin to come up with trees that would not do that.
Well, correct, but like on Fifth Street, like my house specifically,
Yeah.
it teepees all the way up, and it's the boulevard tree that's going to be removed next year under, is it a grant or money set aside to get rid of all of those hideous trees? They'll be gone next year, which would be great, because the XL butchers those. Drive down Fifth and Fourth Street, you'll see.
That's trying to keep our power lines clear, right?
Correct, but they are hideous. They're just horrible. But like my side, I mean, it's a teepee, and clearing that in the winter sucks. And then I got a whole lake, and that was a concern. We were talking sidewalks. I thought I'd
Yep,
ask.
no, we're not gonna pave, we're not gonna pour concrete over any, we're gonna get rid of the trees that are causing the issues before we would pour over them.
Redo
Pour
those.
it,
Okay,
yeah.
got you.
But also the caveat to that is, if the tree is causing the issues, we can't just go through and cut right away trees because people think they're ugly or they don't like them.
No, I get it.
So like all the trees coming down Seventh that people want removed, these are healthy, good trees checked out by an arborist.
Right.
They don't like them because they topped them.
Right.
That doesn't mean we can just go take them. So basically, if they're damaging the sidewalk or they're dead and dangerous, we can remove them. If they're just because it's a tree on public right of way that people
Right.
don't want to look at, unfortunately, we can't just go taking them down.
Right. I know that it's already in the plan works for, I think that road is just, I'm surprised any of those trees are still alive, honestly.
Yeah,
So, but yeah.
we might not, well, yeah. It's strange. I mean, we've got sightline issues around the village too, where people won't trim their bushes, and, you know, you're kind of like doing that
I
out in your
agree.
car trying to
I
see,
agree.
can I go or not?
I agree.
But there's a rule about that. They have to cut them down, or he goes, and he warns them, and then he goes and cuts them down and charges them.
Yeah, which is
So-
great.
Going back to the subject,
Yep,
if we're putting aside 10 grand a year to do this, and I know we don't have a magic ball that's gonna let us see into the future or anything like that. Will we have enough for if something comes up that we need the 10 grand for? Like, do we have enough money that we can put aside to
yes.
do this? Okay,
I'm on the finance committee, so I'm saying yes.
okay.
Is there any reason we wouldn't do it all in one fell swoop if the money was there? Just curious.
One
And that would
year.
make life easier, but I
Would it for you guys though? Because now we're hearing,
yeah,
we've
it's
got
gonna
tree
be,
issues.
it's gonna be cheaper to do it all at once. It's gonna be, more organized, because they're just gonna start and do
And the
everything.
village would be prepared for it because it's going on everywhere.
Correct.
Could we look into that?
Well, I have the figures for how much the whole thing is, because we've
Oh,
met with a
perfect.
couple of the salespeople, but that's for the budget.
Okay, so on that next budget meeting, let's give them both options. Because I would really like to get it knocked out, be done with it. And those sidewalks would be good for what? 20 years?
Oh, I think they're a lot older than that now.
Oh, yeah, I know that, and they show it.
Yeah, right.
I'm using 20 because when the guy paved my driveway when I moved in, he said it's good for 20 years, and it's now 25, 28 years, and it's been good, so. I'm guessing a cement sidewalk would last at least that long, unless there's trees.
Unless there's trees.
All right, so let's do that with sidewalks, and if he gets the okay, we'll throw it on this, and we'll try and plan and make plans that if we can repair them all that way, and it'll be cheaper, we'll do it that way. If not, we'll do them once a year till we get it knocked off. Item C is SMA. Now, you're gonna have to remind me, because I don't see oh, I know, it was
SMA for,
on last,
Project.
it was on last, it was in our stuff, but it wasn't on the agenda, right?
Correct.
So
Monroe
what is
Street.
that? Okay, yeah, tell us about that. I mean, if you guys want to go backwards on your iPad and look at the SMA, it is in there for Public Works for last month.
Yep.
And I think it's titled SMA,
Yeah, so that stands for State Municipal Agreement.
State Municipal Agreement,
Yep.
okay?
So if you remember, the Wisconsin Street project,
Yep,
that one was funded through this same grant
okay,
that the village was awarded. We applied for that last fall, and then we were made aware that, the village secured those funds, grant dollars for this particular project.
and that's, what's from where to where now?
So basically, it's on Monroe Street from,
Lemon to Helen.
Lemon to Helen. It's about 1,100 linear feet of roadway.
That's by the school?
That's the portion of the school that has no sidewalk and no
Right.
curb and gutter.
Yep.
I
Right,
think this is our 7th time applying for the grant, so it's something that the board has showed interest in. In the past, it's just that finally we secured the funding.
are we gonna get curb and gutter then?
Yeah, it'd be
And
Oh,
sidewalks.
sweet,
Yeah, I
and
know.
sidewalk. All
definitely.
right,
I think it's all in that first paragraph. It'll say everything they're gonna do. Sidewalk, curb and gutter, resurface the road.
okay.
So basically, how this particular program works, so there's participating and non-participating items. So the participating items is like the storm sewer, the street, the sidewalk, the asphalt, all the grading that goes along with that. So those particular items, it's a 80-20% split, where 80% is picked up by the state, 20% by the municipality. When you get into the non-participating items, that's where you get into the sanitary sewer and water main. Those items, unfortunately, they don't fund, so those are picked up 100% by the municipality.
That, you guys understand why that's interesting?
Yeah.
But
So-
so do we need to, is this a discussion we end up having with the public utilities about whether they want us at the time that we're doing the street, whether they want to do the sewer and water and if they're going to pay for it or not, or if they want us to pay for it and put it on our balance sheet or?
You would have to know that, because once you start getting in the design of it, I mean, you need to know if you're gonna be doing the utilities as well.
I would, every time we've done one like that, we've always tried to do the utilities.
Yep.
Have we vision checked the utilities on that, the camera thing?
It is clay tile pipe that's
Oh
in
my
there right
gosh.
now. So it's fairly old.
So both PUC and us would want it done, right?
It would,
Can't assume for that board, but I mean, it would be wise to do it. I mean, because if it goes in 10 years, you're redoing everything you just paid. for.
yeah.
Okay, so are you gonna bring us quotes with doing it both ways and,
Well, the way it's been set up and it's provided in the agreement,
okay?
so there's a summary of the costs, and these are just anticipated costs. These are just cost estimates. And you can see with the total project cost of about 1.7 million, the federal state funds would fund about 850,000. And again, that's with the participating items as well as the non-participating.
So about a little under $1 million comes back to the village?
850, yes, yep.
Okay, so of that 850, is any of that going to the property owners along there? Or the school or whoever? I mean,
I mean, we can, I mean, there is a special assessment.
that's what I was after, yeah.
Yep, yep. Some of that cost you could special assess to the residents.
So can you figure out what that would be? We're gonna need to say to the board, all right, here's all the particulars.
50% of the bid, because we can't do anything for water, we can't assess water and sewer to the homeowner.
Yeah,
So it'd be 50% of the bid, so whatever 50% of the road is gonna cost is all we can assess out.
So of the 850, 50% of that?
No, just of the road.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's like the asphalt
okay.
is 50, 50/50, the
Curb
curb is
gutter,
50/50.
Sidewalk,
Sidewalk, according to your assessment policy, 100% is picked up by the village.
village, okay.
Yep.
It looks like it's like $1 million, right? Is that not right? Is the first column, right, is what we're going off of? The 758,000 and the 224,000? Participating construction and construction engineering?
Yeah, those are participating.
Those are ones that we can do the special assessment, so it's
So that's already on here,
almost $1
right?
million.
The Monroe Street project? There's,
On the-
there's a Monroe Street on our CIP.
Correct.
Yeah,
Lemon to Helen.
That's how we pick what we're gonna put in grants for is
Yep.
what's on the CIP.
So we're after one of the CIP, and our total project estimate was 804. And now we're closer to $1 million, you think?
Well, I mean, without funding, it's 1.7.
Yeah,
yeah.
but we always try and go after funding.
Well, clearly, yes, we want to go after funding. And without the
Yeah.
funding, then we're at
When do we have to
850.
spend it by?
So the way it's set up now, you would be under design in 2025, and you would be constructing in 2026.
And complete construction by the end of '26?
Yeah.
And make payments no later than sometime '27?
Depending on, when you could get it out there for special assessment.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, on this one, I think we need to make a motion to approve and pass it up to the board, or finance, I guess.
Yes.
Need a motion to approve the SMA for Monroe Street. Is that the best way to put it? Yep.
I move to approve the SMA for Monroe Street. Do you need funding or anything else?
Nope.
And I'll second.
Okay, any other questions about this before we vote? Does it all make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Any other comments from you two? All right, it's a spending issue. Dusty?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, it passed. Okay. That brings us to item number 6, Galahad Parking Survey Discussion and Possible Recommendation. Matt?
So Galahad's, as we know, a pretty narrow road, so we're looking for approval, or not approval, a recommendation, because there'll be some money spent to send out a survey to the residents of Galahad, seeing if they would like parking restrictions on Galahad to just one side of the street. And then we have a rough draft of it now, so basically the questions are gonna say, would you like to see parking restrictions on Galahad Road North from Summer Street North to Wisconsin Street North? And which side of the road would you like to be posted, no parking this side of street? The east side, the shop yard side, or the west side, the river side? So just looking to send that out to the residents, and we're solely gonna take their feedback on if we push it to the board. So if we get 5 people who want parking restrictions and 30 who don't, then it's just not gonna carry. If we get vice versa, then we'll push it to the board and public safety to see if they wanna approve it. It's a major issue, because when you get people parking on both sides, vehicles can't fit through. It's a huge issue, snow plowing, because if you get people parked on both sides, we just have to push the snow into the ditch and then go all the way around town to, because we can't fit through there with a 12-foot blade when there's people parked on both sides. And the other issue is when people have gatherings, or we spend, I think we've probably done it 10 times this year, we have to go and post Galahad Road, no parking this side of street. So when people have parties or events, it's not too congested to get emergency vehicles down there. So that's kind of just looking to see if you guys want to make a recommendation for us to pursue sending out this parking survey.
I do.
I think it's a good play.
Need a motion?
I motion to send out a survey for parking recommendations, possible recommendations for Galahad Road.
All right.
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed. Item 7, Zappa Brothers winter contract, discussion and possible recommendation. So, since I've been here, we've had some kind of a contract. It's been, in a backup way. Actually, when I first got here, they were doing quite a bit of it. And then our guys, you know, we got new public works people and they changed that and we started doing a lot more of the plowing. Eventually we were able to buy some good equipment. Eventually our staff has even gotten better. So the question came up with Matt about all right, so last year,
About that.
he gets the $8,000, or I think it's $8,000, right?
The Zappa contract?
Yeah.
It was between 7 and 8.
7 and 8, I can't remember, but whether he plows for us or not, he gets it. The idea behind having that contract with him is he's there for emergencies. Or for situations if somebody's out ill, or somebody's been injured, or somebody's on vacation, and we need another body. But we now have another body, right?
Yep, we've hired our part-time, so he's on call in the summer to help us, so we're not have to be on call every other weekend, and then he does the snow plowing for us as well. So we have that, and then we have the second loader, so now we have enough equipment for all the employees, so at least from my standpoint, we didn't use Gary last year. The years previous to that, we had to find ways to use Gary. So whether it be, okay, we're gonna have him plow because we gotta chew up that retainer because we spend it one way or another, but very few times do we ever run into where we actually need the Zappa contract now that we got a full staff. And there's numerous, I mean, Zappa does a great job for us, but if we didn't go with it and we learned after this year that this wasn't a wise choice, there's numerous other plowing companies that would be interested if they weren't interested in coming back.
So question for that is, they're just set, like, this is what I'm gonna do, this is our contract, we don't want to try to lock into, if need be, we could try to figure out a price at that point and lock in, this is how much it would be for an hourly rate if we needed an emergency backup, or maybe we contact one of these other companies just to have an emergency signed up for, here is an hourly rate if we need an emergency backup, understanding that we have not used it, and we probably don't need it, but,
Yeah, I think the problem is, because we've called a couple other ones, they all want a retainer, because
Okay.
if it doesn't snow, they gotta make their money, because
Correct.
they still have the equipment and the employees sitting around. So, it would either be we, have the retainer, with any company, doesn't have to be specifically Zappa's, they do a good job, I would recommend them, but, I just don't feel that it's needed with the new equipment. We used to plow with F-350 pickup trucks
right,
with a plow on the front, and we would, when we got desperate because things were broke, we'd shovel sand out of the back of the pickup with a shovel. We were far beyond that. That's when we would call Gary. We have brand new equipment, all under warranty. When it comes out of warranty, we replace it. So it's just, I think it's just something that we've always done, but with our current public works, it's no longer necessary. But that's my opinion, the board, or the
If we had a freak winter year, would the staff keep up?
we did when it was just Bill and I.
Okay.
Yep. We used Gary at the end of the winter because we had the retainer sitting there, but
Yep.
we didn't need it.
Okay.
We used
And-
it to take some days off because the money was already there and spent.
I would assume if we tried to call somebody in a desperate need, they might charge us a lot of money, but.
We also have an agreement for, with all the surrounding towns. I think you guys voted on it, and
The intergovernmental,
the intergovernmental, so if there's ever a catastrophic thing where we just couldn't handle
we
it.
do help each other.
We
as
do have an
communities.
agreement where
Yeah.
Baldwin can come and help
Well,
us
that's-
into Richmond.
My thought is if we can keep up, and we did just spend, what was it, $200 and some thousand for that front loader? Or was
Yep.
it, yeah, it was like 225,000
Yeah,
or
179.
275?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it should be, it should work all year.
The guys they have the
so.
equipment, they
Yep.
have the skill set.
Yep. And because
I
we have
assume
that
we're not
emergency.
training, right? No, we're not training anybody.
Everybody here has been experienced in
Okay.
snowplow. And then that
I like it.
also circles back to, that money doesn't come out of our operations budget anymore, so it can go to other operational things, sidewalks perhaps, or whatever we might need.
Yep, nope, I like it.
Okay.
It will help, let's just say this, it will help budget this
Right,
year
right.
operationally. There's
Which
an-
is not always the goal, we don't need help
I
to
know.
budget, but seeing as we have the staff and we can do it and the equipment, yay.
more effectively.
But to your point, Brian, yeah, great.
Well, finance might have come back and really pressed us on this one anyway, because insurance rates for our employees went up significantly. And so we are looking for operational costs to
Right.
reduce, and this is one of them. All right.
So would this be dissolving or discontinuing?
We don't have a contract
Yeah.
right now, so it would just be that,
Yeah, it
We're not doing
runs,
timeline.
it was always running from like November to October or something, and yeah, so we're probably still under it a little bit for another month.
yeah, probably, but we don't have a
But we don't have to
2025.
renew it.
Yeah,
So we're basically saying,
Well,
I'm just saying for a motion.
we need to do it.
yeah, I guess we should make that motion because this is something the board's probably gonna wanna weigh in on. So, yeah, we do need a motion that we can move this up to the board and say, are you okay with this? But this is what Public Works has decided.
Want me to do it?
Sure, if you
I'll
want
make a
to.
motion that we proceed with not renewing a contract through Zappa Brothers Winter Services.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, sounds good to me. And that's specifically for snow plowing.
For snow
Snow
plowing.
plowing,
right. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Did you get that? I know that might have come out a little convoluted, but you understand what we're after there on that motion, and that has to go up to the board for final approval. All right, thank you.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry if
Yeah.
it's too late. So if we didn't just make that motion, do we just automatically sign it, or do we make a motion in the final board to re-sign a contract? I mean, how does that come? to play?
Normally, we would make a motion to renew the contract. You and I would be looking at the renewal rates because he changes some of it, a little bit of it each year. And we'd be motioning to move that up to the board for their final approval. In this case, we're motioning to not approve the contract, but we want the board to weigh in on, we want them to understand that they think they can handle it, and let the board hear from Matt that he thinks he can handle it. You know, that's kind of what we're
Just
doing.
wondering
Either
if
way
we
is
needed to
one
make
for the
them, yeah, we're right, but do we need to make a motion because we don't have a contract in front of us? But I get it. I totally understand they need to be aware of it, so, yeah.
Okay. Item 8, chair update. I don't have anything new. I mean, you guys know we're quickly going through budget things. We've had a couple, or well, one working session, another to come. And that's it. Item number 9, engineer report.
The only thing I have is the Lake Malibu water main project is basically done. It is in operation.
Saw a guy down there programming away the other day.
Yep, I think that was last Wednesday or Thursday. They were, yeah, calibrating the flow meters. So it's, yeah, basically up and running.
And remind me again, which way is the water running by default?
There's a check valve in there, so it's running from the city to the village. But there is a bypass pipe in there as well, so that could be reversed if need be,
Okay,
so.
cool.
Yep,
Glad that's done.
Yep.
And that's all you have?
yeah, that's it.
Are you involved in the Lake Malibu Association cleanup thing? Are you either one of you?
Been to their meetings.
Okay, you know they want to drain the lake. So they can deal with the silt on the northeast side, or, well,
Yeah, they're
the whole
working.
east side.
At their
Yeah.
last grant, they secured some funding through a grant. The DNR is gonna review their process. They're years out
Okay.
from anything happening, is what basically we got from. They've secured a portion of the financing, now they've gotta do a bunch of studies, they've gotta get a bunch of scientists in there to make sure they're not gonna do anything bad to the environment, so
Right.
they are, quite a ways out from that.
And does Public Works need to be even
If
involved?
they want to truck, if they end up doing, they want to truck the silt down on one of our roads, we'd be involved, but they wouldn't, our road can't handle it, so that's just not an
Not
option. so-
Riverside, they would not truck it down Riverside.
No, they couldn't. They're talking thousands of loads of silt coming out of there.
Wow.
So that wouldn't be something really that we would have anything to do with.
Okay.
Last time we drained was what, early 2000 or late 90s?
I can't remember the year that it was drained, but I remember it being drained for similar reasons. But this reason is because the dam
Yep.
burst above it and
Yep.
all that silt came down, and now the lake isn't as clean. There's also concern that more than silt came down, that there was some stuff under there when they opened her up that came with it. Not good stuff.
Right.
And then there are people on the river already saying to me who really want to protect the river, please don't let them start cleaning that up until they know exactly what they're cleaning out of there, because we don't want that going in the river. That kind of stuff is
Right.
going on. So all those discussions are going on. I just wondered if you guys are involved.
Yeah, it's kind of all at the DNR level, not really at the local government level at all.
Okay. All right, thank you. Item number 10, director report, project updates. You got anything, Matt?
Nothing. Right now, we did our pickleball court construction, Public Works, did all the base work and the shaping. They came and paved them. That's complete. We'll start on the restoration of the soil that was disturbed there coming the end of the week. And then, getting a lot of phone calls about it. We have a stump grinder, reserved for Tuesday, October 1st, that we'll have for 30 days, that we'll take around to do all the emerald ash borer stumps or the ash tree stumps. It's not gonna happen before that. We've got too much to do, and we're gonna use the weather to our benefit and do it when it's cold out and not miserable.
How are we on did we sweep the streets that we seal coated yet?
Yep, Monday morning.
Oh, we already got them?
Yep.
Okay. Probably make some people happy.
Yeah, it got pushed out because of that storm, because
Right.
there was debris and sticks all over the road, and we weren't
Yep.
gonna sweep them 3 times. So
Right.
unfortunately, it got a little pushed out this year, so apology to the residents on that, but we did the best we could getting it sweeped up.
Any questions for? I got one. When you were up there, so the complaint that I had from a resident about, they call it Thistleberry Park. Did you notice that the grass, is it really like that? Does it have these burrs and these sand burrs?
It's not in the grass, so while there's some in the grass, it's pretty bad inside of the, playground, the play area.
Oh,
So, and yes, we did address that. We brought in Department of Corrections, and they went through there basically with sifters and sifted as much out as they could to get us through the year. And then we plan on bringing all that out and replacing it with wood chips in the play area, which the wood chips are gonna be coming from. The grinder just showed up this morning, and the wood chips are gonna be coming from the storm debris.
great.
So it won't be much of a financial impact for us to go through and fix all the play areas of the park, so.
Great, great. All right, that takes us to item 11, Public Works Capital Equipment, current and future budgeting. Anything new that you need?
Not at this time.
Anything you guys think he needs? Me either. We're working on it. You know, like I said, we're meeting out right now on the budget that you guys are gonna get a look at that shortly. Item 12, future agenda items. What was the one we said earlier?
Private road.
Huh?
Talking about the private.
Oh,
road.
yeah, the Park Avenue North.
That's under that CIP.
Yeah. Putting up, no, you can't, sorry. Can we put that, make sure we get that on the next future agenda, as a future agenda item? Anything else for future agenda items? For this group?
There'll be some future agenda items for, having some issues with the lift station. There's gonna need to be some repairs made to it.
Oh, which one?
Well, they're from the storm, but it's the Riverside triplex.
The big one?
Yep.
Is that ours?
So there's some things that got damaged in the storm that'll be covered by insurance, some things that aren't. They're coming out Thursday at 9 o'clock to get us all of our final numbers, so that'll be next month where we have some spendings and might have to do a little amending of the budget to cover some of the,
So put it on there anyway, the triplex, Riverside triplex, for discussion only, and we'll see if you got an update by then.
oh yeah, because they're coming this Thursday, so
Okay,
I'll have
great.
more of an update.
Great. Anything else?
Not at this time.
Can I just ask one question?
Can you wait? No, you can't actually. We already had that section of the agenda, so no, we don't take questions from the audience.
Told me anything that was not on the agenda.
Yeah, but we already covered that. We are way past that. So if you could just hang on a second, I'm about to adjourn. Item number 13, we are adjourned at 6:14 PM.